Bum bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. Ba-dum ba-bum bum bum bum. Ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum bum. In case you don't know what that theme song is, that's a theme to my next episode of Wide World Game Shows I bring to you exclusively on Valentine's Day. Let's talk about the game that really gives a meaning to the words phrase making whoopee and what have you, the Newlywed Game. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows! Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Doyle, the Big D to y'all. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Welcome to the Wide World of Game Shows, where I talk about some of the greatest game shows that ever existed and what have you, or some that just were a little underrated. Today, I'm going to be talking about probably one of the most craziest games out there that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. I know it because it's just one game that, couples that have just been married come up to answer some crazy questions, and even questions that feature the word whoopee in it. So, without further ado, I bring to you the Newlywed Game! That's right, the Newlywed Game. An American game show that puts newly married couples against each other in a series of revealing question rounds to determine how well the spouses know or do not know each other. Now, the program was originally created by Robert Nick Nicholson and E. Roger Muir, credited on screen as Roger E. Muir, produced by Chuck Barris. Yes. And has appeared in many different versions since its debut in 1966. The show became famous for some of the arguments that couples had over incorrect answers in the form of mistaken predictions, and they even led to some divorces. Ooh. Pitiful. And let's see. Anyway, the Newlywed Game originally premiered on ABC in 1966. Anyway, and was produced by Chuck Barris Productions, who of course run by Chuck Barris himself, the guy who would also go on to give us other programs such as The Dating Game and, a game Barris himself would host, The Gong Show. Now, the show's host itself was Bob Eubanks. In one of his first ever games, I'm pretty sure it was one of his first, and he hosted the show more times than any other and what have you. So anyway, yep. Now, many of the game's questions dealt with making whoopee, the euphemism that producers use for sexual intercourse to circumvent network censorship. However, it became such a catchphrase of the show that its original host, Bob Eubanks, continued to use the phrase throughout the show's many runs, even in the 80s and 90s episodes and beyond, when he could easily have said make love or have sex during these periods without censorship. Yep. Really something. Now, the Newlywed Game, when it premiered in July of '66, it was the last U.S. commercial network series to premiere in black and white, although it converted to color as did virtually all other network series that had not already done so. By the end of '66, just before the primetime version began, on the day it debuted, CBS preempted its popular password to cover a news conference held by then Defense Secretary Robert McNamara, which was delayed a half hour, with the network vamping until he spoke. But ABC opted to wait until just as the press conference began, and as a result, the Newlywed Game was able to get a slight head start in the head-to-head ratings battle with the long-running password. And over the next few months, more and more viewers were tuning into the Newlywed Game, and it became a hit, while Password's ratings began to fall and eventually led to the series' cancellation 14 months later. But soon, NBC premiered their long-running soap Days of Our Lives in late '65. Yes, which initially struggled to climb in the ranks, but by the early '70s, it was winning the time slot regularly, though not always, over the show and CBS's long-running Guiding Light. So eventually, ABC determined that the Newlywed Game had run its course on daytime. On December 20th, 1974, the show concluded its initial run after nearly 8.5 years. It was the longest-running game show on daytime until 1985, when the original Family Feud surpassed it, having run 9 years. So anyway, but soon in '77, the show actually got to return in a syndicated version with the same rules and set as the ABC original. But it was mostly successful, but it was canceled in 1980, not directly because of the show itself, because in the fall of '79, creator Chuck Barris had debuted some of a spin-off show called Three's a Crowd. Now, I'll provide a card, one of the cards in the end of the video for a suggestion, which that's already been my most viewed episode of Wide World of Game Shows. But the controversy driven by the implications of adultery that became such a concept ruined Barris's reputation not only in the death, but all three of Barris's other shows that were airing at the time, which was the Newlywed Game, the Dating Game, and the Gong Show. Still, in 1984, in February, a special week-long series for Valentine's Day aired on ABC, and was the last time the show aired on a broadcast network. Now, except for the week of specials, would later be used for Bob Eubanks' return to the new Newlywed Game in syndication a year later. Which of course, let's see. Yeah, which Eubanks hosted until 1988. Paul Rodriguez took over for that. In 1984, Jim Lang, who had recently hosted the Dating Game, and he also hosted the $100,000 Name That Tune, actually, at that same year, he actually did this one, for a special '84 episode. But after that, the show had come to an end, but it was brought back again in 1996 in syndication, where they had Gary Kroeger, who would later host the syndicated version of Beat the Clock in the late '90s, early 2000s. And if I'm not mistaken, he also was the announcer for Whammy, The All New Press Your Luck. But soon after one season, he left, and Bob Eubanks returned to host for 2 more seasons. After that, it was later sent to Game Show Network, where it ran for 4 more years. The first year done by Carney Wilson of the girl group known as Wilson Phillips of Hold On fame. And then later, African-American superstar Sherry Shepard for the rest of its run. Now, Eubanks did serve as a host for special episodes during Carney Wilson's run. It also had several announcers, most notably Johnny Jacobs, who mostly did the announcing for most of Barris's productions. Their other announcers include Bob Hilton, Charlie O'Donnell, and John Kramer, who of course would also be the announcer for the Dating Game run with Chuck Woolery from '97 to '99, which that was pretty cool. Anyway, to this day, Sony actually owns the rights to the show. Now, since I've gotten too far ahead of myself, in the game, in the first round, the wives were taken off the stage while the husbands were asked how they thought their wives would answer the three questions. Wives were then brought back on stage and were asked for their answers for the same three questions. Once the wife gave her answer, the husband revealed the answer they previously gave, which was written on a blue card. A match for the question was worth 5 points for the couple, and sometimes they share a smooch. Then it was reversed in the second round. Husbands were taken off, and the wives were asked 4 questions this time. The first 3 questions were doubled, and it was worth 10 points. The final question was worth 25 points. Bob Eubanks referred to this as the 25-point bonus question. Maximum possible score for any couple was 70 points. The couple with the highest score at the end of the second round won a prize that was chosen just for you, as they call it. Actually, the couples had requested a certain prize and competed with other couples that had requested the same prize. By 1987, this practice was eliminated. The grand prize was never a car or cash, but it could include just about anything else: appliances, furniture, home entertainment systems, a trailer, or motorcycles, trips, complete with luggage and camera. However, in the 1997 version Eubanks did, the grand prize was always a trip, this time referred to as a fabulous second honeymoon, which that was really cool. Now, prior to the taping of the show, each couple was asked to predict the total points they would earn. In the event of a tie for first place, the tied couples revealed a card showing this predicted score. The winner went to whichever couple that had the closest guess without going over their actual total. Otherwise, it went to the other couple who had the closest guess, provided that all tied couples went over. An exact guess awarded a bonus prize to the winners. Now, I'm not going to give too much more of the other things because I've never seen others versions of this aside from the Bob Eubanks version. I had seen a little bit of the Game Show Network runs, and well, that was that. So anyway, yeah, I am going to say it was really something. I wasn't really much big on the Newlywed Game until I did decide to take the time to watch it when its new version started with Bob Eubanks hosting in '97. I actually started watching before I went to school when Game Show they were picked up reruns of it before or once they were shown on syndication because they were syndicated as well. And I usually decide to catch it again, well, in school when I wasn't doing anything because I helped out the counselors in my last year, as a matter of fact. There would be 2 specials for this, and I gotta tell you, a lot of these shows have been aired. Game Show Network, most notably, has aired almost a lot of this. Anyway, let's see here. More recently, the 1997 to 1998 season with Eubanks actually started airing on Buzzer. That's right. Which made it the first non-Fremantle produced series to come to that network, aside from the underrated 1979 series. The first time a Sony-owned property would ever come to Buzzer. There was also merchandise products and what have you. There was books, a video slot machine. Let's see, and there was home editions as well, which that was pretty good. Incredible, huh? The show's original theme music has been released several times as well, most notably as part of the GSM-approved Classic TV Game Show theme CD, which I actually happen to have. Anyway, the Newlywed Game was also shown in all sorts of countries and in various countries, including Australia, France, Germany, Indonesia, Italy, Poland, Spain, Tunisia, Ukraine, the UK, and Vietnam. So anyway, the Newlywed Game is really something, and I really do like it, even though I don't really watch it much, but still, I have respect for it. Oh yeah, and there are times when they have couples who are expecting a new member to come. I mean, well, expectant mothers. In some episodes of the later Eubanks run in '97. So anyway, that's about it. So now you know all about the Newlywed Game from me. So anyway, if you've seen the Newlywed Game, tell me what you thought about it. And I'm sure a lot of y'all will probably tell me that you like the Bob Eubanks version more. But if you don't, then that's fine. You be the judge. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on the Newlywed Game in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and be a part of the Big D Nation. And next week, I'll be giving to my 20th Wide World of Game Shows episode, and that'll be on Wheel of Fortune. And stay tuned for my Wayne's World review coming up later tonight. So thanks for watching, and if you like this, consider checking out these other Wide World of Game Shows episodes. In the upper left-hand corner is, well, the Wide World of Game Shows episode for the show I was talking about earlier, The Underrated Three's a Crowd from 1979. The upper right-hand corner is the Wide World of Game Shows episode I talked about on another game show that Bob Eubanks would later host after the Newlywed Game, and that was Card Sharks, where I talk about all versions of that except for maybe the syndicated 2000s version. And the bottom left-hand corner is the previous Wide World of Game Shows episode, and that being Press Your Luck. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the Wide World of Game Shows. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm the Big D saying see ya.